Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Rowe. We're looking in Geometry Part A. This is a lesson on special parallelograms, and we're going to look at this example. This is where you're given a square, and we're going to assume that this is a square, and then you're asked to find the values of x and y. We're having a little trouble with this. I'm going to try to explain it one more time. So two things. When we find x, the one thing we know about a rectangle or a square is that this diagonal is a bisector of the angle. It's an angle bisector because it's a rhombus. So it's an angle bisector. Since we're told this is a square, what does that mean about the angle? Well, we know that since it's a square, the angle is a right angle. And so that means that each half must be 45 degrees. So that helps us find x. So in order to find x, we're going to write our equation. And it's going to have to equal, because it's a bisector, these two angles have to equal. So it's going to be 45 degrees. And so now it's just a two-step equation. We're going to add 12 to each side, giving us 3x equals 57. And then yes, that is divisible by 3. And so I know that x is going to equal 19. So now what about y? Well, this is a square. So what do we know about a square? All the sides of a square have to be congruent. And we know that because we're told that the figure is a square. So how do we find y? Well, we set up the equation with those expressions equal to each other. And then it just becomes, let me rewrite that. 5y plus 8. That's what happens when you're looking at multiple screens. There we go. All right, so there's the equation. And now it's just a multi-step process to solve. I'm going to subtract 5y from each side because I like to move the smaller variable. And please always show these steps. A lot of you try to do it in one step and you mess up and then you don't understand my feedback when I tell you to check your inverse operation. That's why I ask you to show your work so I can point out exactly where you're making errors when you make those small errors. And so we're going to add 10 to each side. And that gives me 18. And finally, we're going to divide by 3. And so that leaves us with y equals 6. So I hope this helps you with this problem in the lesson. If you're still struggling with it as you're doing your work, please let me know through teacher message or set up an appointment for a help session.